Staying with USC for a little bit, USC Athletic Director Pat Haden made a little bit of news on Saturday when he sprinted onto the field to argue with the referee. That'll cost him $25,000. But the bigger issue, Trevor, is was it right for him to run on the field during a game?
I mean, that's a loaded question, Tommy. We're obviously both biased towards USC, but that wasn't right at all. He looked like an idiot. I have no idea why Sarkisian thought it was a good idea to bring him down there, especially when you consider that he was arguing about like being in the white box where the officials are supposed to be able to walk down the sidelines, and he was arguing about he had a player kicked out of the game. And have you ever heard of a coach needing to text his athletic director or owner or general manager because he's got a problem on the field? So that was not right. I think that was, they were hot-headed. I don't know why. You would think Pat Haden in that type of situation would be the voice of reason, being already up in the press box and wouldn't come down onto the field. So I don't know what was going on in his head either. And I don't really know what's going on at USC right now with the last couple of weeks, but they're 2-0. They just beat Stanford. Got a pretty soft schedule the next 5 to 10 games. So who knows? This might be a year where USC could make it to the Pac-12 championship game and further.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you that it was wrong, but I think the bigger problem is if this is really what happened, which I'm a little bit skeptical, if Sark really did text him to come down to the field, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. I mean, you have assistant coaches standing right beside you. If you really have a problem with the referee, and his excuse was he didn't want to keep arguing with him because he thought he had worn out his welcome, essentially, with the referee, which is fine. But then get your assistant head coach or a coordinator or anyone else to go argue with him. You don't need to go get a guy from the stands, have him sprint on the field like somebody's dad who's watching their kid get beat up or something like that to go come save him. I mean, that's was literally what unbelievable.
It was like. It makes no sense at all.
Crazy.
0 sense.
I mean, and the bigger question here is this going to hurt Pat Haden's seat on the playoff selection committee? Because do you want a guy like that on your committee, a guy who blatantly has a bias, obviously he's an athletic director, but not only that, but to the point where he's willing to run out of the crowd to go yell at an official?
Right.
Is that kind of, should he still have that job? And I honestly, I went to USC, I don't think he should. I think you pull something like that, and we just talked about, doing one thing wrong and your whole life changes. I mean, this is one of those things where if your mindset is that you're willing to run down on the field, yell at an official, it's almost like you're a head coach. And I don't think a head coach should have a spot on that seat or anyone that closely related to their football team. So I think that he should lose his seat on the playoff voting board. And it hurts me to say that as a Trojan, but I don't think you can have someone like that be unbiased and maybe he'll have a grudge against UCLA, or maybe he'll try and get more Pac-12 schools in because he's that passionate about it. But again, I know you're not allowed to vote for your own team if you are on that committee, but someone with a clear bias like that, I don't think you can even have him on there.
Yeah, Tommy, you make a good point. I agree with you. I think although you aren't able to vote for your own team, by demonstrating his emotions in that type of way, I don't think, at least for this year, he should be fit to be on that committee. He's already been suspended for 2 games. He can't be on the sidelines for 2 games, and he's been fined $25,000. But I agree with you. We both went to USC, but you can't have that. And it makes the school lose credibility. There's already enough haters out there against USC who want to see him fall flat on their face. And between, the Josh Shaw thing and Sark being called a racist, this is not another thing you need to add to the platter of weird things that are happening at USC. But I will say this, though. Lane Kiffin had a bunch of weird things going on with him, too, but the only difference is that USC's 2-0, and with Lane, they were losing, and this kind of crap was happening. So while Pat Haden cannot demonstrate this type of action in the future, and I agree with you that he should be taken off the committee at least for this year, you got to at least like what you're seeing out of USC so far.
Yeah, got no problem with that. I mean, I think the football team looks great, but that was a bizarre situation that I don't think I'll ever see again.
Do you think?
And the thing is, I was at the game and I didn't even notice that it happened. I felt really dumb when I got back home after the game and I flip on SportsCenter and all they're playing is Haden running on the field. I was like, how did I miss that? But gosh, snuck that by me.